Ukraine, a land once peaceful and prosperous, now the epicenter of a brutal war that has lasted over 2 years. The war not only takes lives but also leaves deep economic and social scars. And if the war continues until the end of 2026, the losses will become immeasurable, with reconstruction costs estimated to exceed $1 trillion. Since the beginning of 2022, over 70,000 Ukrainian soldiers have lost their lives. Civilian deaths have exceeded 10,500 people. If the war continues for another 2 years, these numbers could increase by 60,000 soldiers and 7,000 to 8,000 civilians. These are not just numbers. They represent broken families, children losing their parents, and an entire generation growing up in the shadow of war. Russia currently controls 20% of Ukraine's territory, including key areas such as Donetsk, Luhansk, Zaporizhia, and Kherson. If the war continues, Ukraine risks losing an additional 5 to 10% of its area, which means losing numerous valuable resources. This is not just territory, but the lifeline of millions of people. Ukraine's infrastructure is suffering severe damage. 10% has been destroyed, from housing, schools, hospitals, to 8,400 kilometers of highways and 300 bridges. If the conflict continues, this rate could rise to 20%. Millions of people will remain homeless, and reconstruction will become increasingly difficult. The Ukrainian economy is facing an unprecedented crisis. GDP has dropped by more than 30% in 2022, and could decrease by another 20 to 30% if the war continues. Public debt has exceeded 86% of GDP, and inflation has reached 26%. A country once a hub of agricultural exports is now struggling to maintain its basic economy. So how much is needed for Ukraine to rise again? The World Bank estimates the current reconstruction cost at $600 billion USD. But if the war extends to 2026, this cost could rise to 900, even $1 trillion USD. A colossal amount, but it still cannot measure the losses in spirit, culture, and human lives. Even with international support, Ukraine will need at least 15 to 20 years to recover. That is under ideal conditions. But if aid is delayed, the reconstruction journey could extend to 50 years. This is not just Ukraine's challenge, but a test for all of humanity. War cannot be the answer. Ukraine cannot rise alone. Peace is essential to prevent further losses. The international community needs to come together, not just to rebuild Ukraine, but also to restore faith in the power of unity and humanity. More than ever, Ukraine needs the support of the world. Let us come together to close this painful chapter and open a brighter future. A nation can rise from the ashes if we act in time. Ukraine is standing before a hopeful future, but there are many questions for the international community. Will the countries that benefited from this conflict actively contribute to the reconstruction effort? Or will there be stringent binding conditions? The path to peace and recovery may be fraught with challenges, but the President of Ukraine understands that to ease the pain of the people, there is no other way but to pursue peace through dialogue. The whole world is watching, and the responsibility lies with all of us to support Ukraine on its journey of reconstruction and healing. Together, we can turn this chapter of pain and loss into a new chapter, a chapter of resilience and renewal. Thank you for watching the video. Goodbye, and see you in the next video.